Hi, I'm Matt,
And I'm Scott.
and we are trending towards viral. And we're back with another trending towards viral topic. Scott, I wanted to get your thoughts because you are a little bit more of an expert when it comes to stuff like this than I am. I read an article actually this morning talking about the Taylor Swift deepfake scandal where someone was using AI programs to superimpose her image on top of adult performers, and it was distributed all over various social media platforms and the internet. Um, what I also read was that currently in the United States, there are no laws against doing something like this. The closest thing that we have in place to, anti AI image generation laws is it goes against intellectual property laws and defamation laws. But I don't think that's enough. I think that we need actual legislation against something like this. You're a little bit more of an expert on the world of artificial intelligence and sort of business law and stuff like that than I am. Um, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I agree. A lot of my efforts around AI right now are on sort of vetting and regulating and creating transparent models and transparent business use cases for AI, mostly within the government sector.
Mhm.
I know that through my research, I found the National Institute of Standards and Technologies and the EU's Artificial Intelligence Act, and I believe Japan has another sort of national act on AI, but they don't do a lot on auditing and assessments. Assessments being before something is launched and sort of that audit as it's being used. The deep fake things with AI is just barely getting started. I
Mm.
don't know if you've heard recently, but the New York City mayor actually did a voice cloning and then with using an AI cloning software and then had his voice translated into multiple languages and then did robocalls with his voice speaking in multiple languages for announcements to the residents of New York City. And I think that the voice cloning stuff is really interesting. I think that the video sort of superimposing that you're talking about with the Taylor Swift use case is really interesting. It's going to happen a lot more, especially around election season.
Mhm.
Um, I think that thinking back to the Trump administration, do you remember when he had a meeting and he had all the top tech people in his office for a meeting on how to regulate and how to open up tech in the United States? I believe in that meeting he got a lot of insights that led to his fake news um, comments. And so I think that the tech sector has known about deepfakes for a long time, and the fact that once these tools are in everyday people's hands, they're going to just, for lack of a better word, spread like wildfire.
Mhm.
And so that spreading is just barely starting to happen. We just barely have a match that's hit the dry grass right now. The assessments and risks are an incredibly important piece of the equation of verifying the content that comes out of AI and making sure that the hallucinations aren't creating negative impacts on people, especially. And so the deep fake, especially in what you're talking about with Taylor Swift, that's a negative impact on somebody. I'm not sure if the technology needs to have some sort of embedding in the video that it creates,
Mhm.
a banner, a flag of some sort, but something to notate which piece of software created the deep fake. I think that that would be a nice way to have a feedback loop so that those AI softwares can have a better or tighter sort of control on what they're used for. And the ones that are the real bad actors, we can find those pretty easily.
Right, because the article that I read, uh, they talked to a woman in Australia who somebody that she worked with used an AI deep fake program to put her into a porno video, and then it was distributed through work. I'm sorry, through her work. which, obviously she was very upset, hurt, by this, and that's putting it all very lightly. Um, and I saw a statistic that said that as of right now, 96% of the content being put out by people using deepfake technology is putting people in pornographic situations that didn't consent to that are being affected by this. One of the reasons why we're hearing about it now is because it does affect somebody as high profile as Taylor Swift. And the Australian woman who they interviewed said, nobody cares when this happens to somebody like me. It takes it happening to somebody like a Taylor Swift. Not that that makes it better by any stretch of the imagination, but it takes it happening to somebody very high profile in order to draw necessary attention to it, and hopefully get at least a discussion about figuring out some sort of legislation to make this kind of activity illegal. To your earlier point, it did say that a couple of uh, both social media sites and uh, generative AI programs do have some sort of built-in check uh, to sort of scan the content and to try to make sure that it's not being used for that purpose. But it's not perfect yet. It still seems sort of in early stage development, and stuff like that's getting through. And sadly, women are sort of on the receiving end of that. Um, it's awful for a number of reasons that I don't think we have time to get into right now.
Yeah, and I think it's going to happen more frequently, and at a higher profile.
Mhm.
Especially, I believe strongly that politics are going to be swayed by deep fakes in the coming elections,
Yeah,
both this March and next fall. So it'll be interesting how things unfold and what the official response is, because there's going to have to be a response. We know that they're not going to stop happening, especially with the ease and they're practically free to create.
yeah.
So.